Hi, welcome to the video. Hope you're doing well. So I want to go over Eusebius in his book Ecclesiastical History, Book 2, Chapter 14. So there's going to be two parts to this. So you'll have access to an interactive PDF in the description below. So anytime it says link or anytime you see the cursor turn into a hand after you download it, or you can open up the Google Drive too, that's fine. I recommend downloading it though, but yeah, so it'll open up a link. So anytime you see it turn to a hand. So yeah, so I definitely, and I'm getting it from this book here, Eusebius. Okay, shortly after I became a Christian, I was so excited about getting this book, and and I like most people do, including even scholars, they just gobble this stuff up like it's cotton candy. But over the years, I've studied more. I realize more and more, this is not a reliable source. And I reached a point where I can see what Eusebius was actually trying to do. It was not a pure, he did not write this with a pure heart. All right, I'll put it that way. He had intentions. And I think what was happening was he was trying to centralize power around Rome, grabbing onto the religious sphere and trying to use Christianity to gain power in Rome, to sustain. Keep in mind, it was the empire at the time, and it was having its ups and downs. And so it was an attempt, I believe, under Constantine. And keep in mind, there was no separation of church versus state at the time he wrote this. And Constantine did not have a true conversion. If you look at what happened after his so-called conversion, he murdered his own family. He still held to pagan practices and beliefs. And he was trying to combine paganism with Christianity. Well, what does that tell you? It's about power. And that's also explains why he started a church building program. It was all about power and trying to score political points with the Christians and so forth. But anyway, enough about that. So the part that I want to look at, and I encourage you to get this book, alrighty. It's just so that you can follow along, so forth. But you have to read this with caution, discernment, and question things. And that's the problem with a lot of apologists and scholars. They treat this as if it's gospel truth and solid truth, and you just dive right into it and accept whatever he says. I find that is not the case. All right. So anyway, the preaching of Peter in the city of Rome. Peter, he undertook, and this is from book 2, chapter 14. Okay, a portion anyway. A great journey from the east across the sea and fled to the west, thinking that this was the only way for him to live according to his mind. Entering the city of Rome, by the cooperation of that malignant spirit which had fixed its seat there, his attempt was soon so far successful as to be honored to God with direction of a statue by the inhabitants of that city. This, however, did not continue long. Immediately under the reign of Claudius, by the benign and gracious providence of God, Peter, that powerful and great apostle, who by his courage took the lead of all the rest, was conducted to Rome against the path of mankind. There are some definite problems with this statement. First off, Peter was considered, for him to go to Rome, he had to be an educated man to know the language. Right here in Acts 4:13, he was considered an uneducated man. In other words, he could not speak Greek. All right, Greek language was for the educated. If you click on this, it'll bring it right here, okay, and gives you more information on Greek by educated native and by foreigners. All right, and then Latin was spoken by the upper class of Romans. So Peter definitely did not speak Latin. So he was known only Hebrew and Aramaic. And see here, Rome spoke Latin and Greek. Okay, I'm giving all my sources. So therefore, if Peter went to Rome, he would not have been able to speak their language. All right. Another problem I see here in terms of a statue. Let's see here. Where was it? Yeah. Erection of a statue, honor to God. When looking at Acts 10, you should click on this here. here's a man who fell down and worshiped him, and Peter lifted him up physically, saying, stand up, I too am a man, just like you. And so he felt very uncomfortable with that. And knowing that the statue served as political propaganda, all right, at that time, there's no way Peter would have accepted that. I don't see it. So that's another problem. So what would Eusebius really trying to accomplish with that? Could it be he was trying to merge religious power and political power from Rome and Constantine? It heavily points in that direction. So another problem with the statement, Claudius' reign began in AD 41. We see in Acts 12, Peter's rescue from Herod by the Lord put an end to the threat on Peter by King Herod. This occurred in AD 44. This is a few years after the beginning of Claudius' reign. So it said immediately under the reign of Claudius, it was AD 41. But here we find out, now keep in mind, Herod was king of Judea, not Rome. So this suggests that Peter was still in Judea at this time. All right? Peter was rescued by the Lord, so why would Peter feel the need to save his life at this point, given what took place? We even see Barnabas coming back from Antioch, their mission trip to Jerusalem. Then we see in Acts 13, it was Paul Barnabas who was sent off, not Peter. All right? This suggests Peter stayed in Jerusalem. This also suggests Peter would no longer feel safe, feels life was threatened. Feels life was threatened. The Lord already took care of it. Why would he feel threatened and the need to flee at this point? This also suggests the Lord wanted Peter to stay in Jerusalem. Otherwise, why would he do it? Okay? He wanted Peter to go to Rome. Peter simply could have fled to Rome to escape the threat, but the Lord already took care of it. So this heavily goes against, the scripture himself heavily goes against what Eusebius is saying here, claiming. Alrighty? So this wraps up part 1, and I'll continue on to part 2. All right, thank you.